Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Morning Woods podcast. The first thing I want you to do is go down to the bottom and hit that thumbs up, and then also subscribe to this YouTube channel or follow this Spotify account if you haven't already. Other than that, I have a really special guest with me today. This guy is he's a pretty big hitter in the Cincinnati scene. He's got a couple podcasts. You guys can check him out on Zorse Industries, but this man's name is Giles Chickering. Did I get that right?
You did. Thank you.
Oh, my God. Thank you, Giles, for being here. Really appreciate you.
Yep. Pretty much all of those apply. So yeah, I think that's
those are the ones he asked me to hit before the recording.
Yeah. I like to get a nice palette going. So.
There's some
Nice.
There's definitely some dexterity in between those flavors for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Am I using that word right?
Probably.
So. I don't think so.
Thank you for having me on your wonderful show and your lovely studio.
Thank you for coming, dude. This isn't
Pleasure.
this isn't mine. I can't take all the credit, but I do get to work here, and it's a really fucking cool place. So
Thank you for having me.
dude, thanks for coming, bro. I see you doing big things in Cincy. I always hear other comics talking about your podcast.
Huge.
And,
Huge.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
not yet, but maybe, right? That's how I feel. I'm
Gigantic.
for the city though. Definitely people showing you some love, and I've seen the clips online. It's pretty dope. I'm gonna come down there and watch that, and maybe I can be on it someday. Maybe you'd allow me.
Come on down. It's a nice little time.
That'd be pretty. I waited till we recorded it to ask him if we can.
Yeah, that's good.
That's
Put
the
pressure
trick.
on.
That's the
Yeah.
trick. You put the Giles is such a nice guy.
I gave you a pretty firm committal answer. I said, yeah,
I
come
like
on
that.
down.
I like that.
Sometime in the future.
Well, when I
look.
looked you in the eye, you sometime in the future meant 10 to 12 years when I'm a headliner.
Sure.
And you were like, fuck off until then. Does that make sense?
Pretty clear trajectory.
Yeah.
100%.
100%.
Most of the people that end up on my show, it's people that I just talk shit with in the back of open mics and everything. So
Just the homies, yeah.
once we've established a rapport, which I can tell we're doing already,
I like this.
then
Feels good.
yeah, you gotta let me know that you and I can have a dynamic, and then
Yes.
we can go on the show to be viewed by single digits of people at a time.
That's fantastic.
It is nice.
I'm more excited than you think. I'll be honest. More than I'm letting on.
You should see how I feel right now.
I wish we had a
Again?
laugh meter or something for
It's-
your heart. I know
It would be on
inside
high.
it would be high. Yeah,
Mhm.
not as high as me, but
Well,
it would 100. You know what else was high?
what's that?
That little baby that those monkeys threw off the roof in India.
I saw that.
Can you pull that headline up there, Dylan? So apparently there's like a gang of street monkeys in India, and they're fighting back against the people. They've taken a baby and thrown it off a roof, and
Makes
that's
perfect sense to me. It's pretty much just a continuation of the Wizard of Oz.
if you
over
I don't know. That's
over there, they're
kind
flying,
of,
they're
yeah.
flying around, and then they've fallen on hard times, and then that monkey probably either owed them some, or the baby probably
Do you
owed
think
them some
monkeys
money
are
or
on
something.
drugs? You think the monkeys are selling in the streets of India?
It could be, or maybe the baby was there and it was causing a problem, and the monkeys are just trying to clean up the street. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe it's some sort of vigilante situation where these monkeys are just trying to live a better life. They don't need these babies coming in.
Yeah, taking up all the food, all the
Taking-
milk.
Doing that, standing on street corners at night, causing problems,
Yeah.
being a bad element in the neighborhood.
Right. I
So-
can see that. Yeah, I think as a
Do they cover that in the article?
I don't.
assume that-
yeah.
yeah.
They're gonna clean these mean streets up.
Yeah,
Kind of like in Missouri when they're telling it's now a felony to be homeless in Missouri.
sure. Yeah, and
Yeah.
I mean these monkeys, they're living, they have their own style of living. They're amongst the trees, and then they see these babies walking around on the ground, and they don't like that.
Well, these are rooftop monkeys, bro. These are like city dwelling monkeys, I believe. I don't think that I think they're like more advanced. Like it's like Planet of the Apes. Legitimately, they're living amongst the rooftops of India, amongst the people.
In the canopy, of course,
In-
representing
Probably in the canopy.
their own jungle of sorts.
Yeah, basically.
This makes sense. And then maybe the baby was up there climbing. Maybe what was the baby doing on the roof? Did anyone ask that?
I don't know. I think they took the baby and then took it to the roof and threw it. It must have been like
This is a King
sign-
Kong situation.
Because that's what I'm saying. It's like
Yeah.
a sign of dominance, right?
Right.
That's
If-
that's all they know. They don't know emotional language like we do. They're just gonna go off of instinct alone.
Neither did the baby.
No, the
Baby
baby.
presumably was in there,
The baby could have been a threat to them in some way or another.
most likely.
100%.
Stolen banana situation. There's a lot of
I
things
didn't
that
even
could have
think
happened.
about that. What
Yeah,
if the baby's favorite food was bananas?
You have to consider the dynamics. I mean, this didn't just happen without reason.
Mm.
Babies don't just get thrown around.
Oh man, they do in India. Well, they do. Can we
according
play the video that we have pulled up, Dylan?
for clarity, as a precursor, this is not a video of a child falling off a roof.
Definitely not. It's
Okay.
just a different video of another monkey who grabs a little kid off of a bike. And it's still kind of crazy. Like, these little things are vicious, dude.
Do we know that the other kid did not steal the bike from the monkey? Maybe this was just some revenge.
Oh, that's true, too.
Yep. Okay. See, there he is. He's just grabbing these kids, and then the monkey is, of course, taking the child, which
It's
is
so much more powerful. We play that back one more time. It's so much more powerful than the kid. Yeah, I mean, the kid, the child
baby-
doesn't stand a chance. It's incredible.
the
Strength.
child does appear to be larger than the monkey. So I assume that
Much
this is
bigger.
some sort of ant situation where monkeys are able to lift
Yes,
more
they
than
are.
their body weight.
Yeah, well, they're like muscular. They're heavier than they appear too. So they're
Okay.
almost like they're like made of stone. You know what I mean?
Well, perhaps they're just taking their spot back at the top of the pyramid. I mean, this is something
Holy
that we need to
shit.
consider here.
Holy shit. Well, what if they start like wearing suits and shit and they start telling us that we need to have rights for monkeys and shit?
Do that. They start
that gonna
driving.
happen?
They start driving Priuses around, and then before you know it, then all of us are paying a series of taxes to fund these monkey schools and everything. I mean, it's just there's a lot of stuff
Oh
going
my
on
god,
here.
it's
yeah.
an endless loop. I didn't
Yeah.
even realize it was going to get that big.
This is how the world works, though.
You
Like,
need new economies. You
what-
need new ventures for people. And
right when you start calming down and not watching your back, that's when another species comes in and starts showing you who's boss. And we thought it was sharks for a while, right before 9/11. They were biting everybody. That was a whole thing.
yeah,
And then
terrorists definitely took over where sharks left off.
well, we toughened up. And then, right as soon as we start to soften up a little bit, we get 20 years past that, and all of a sudden we got all these, tree dwellers out here taking our youth, which
Dude, at one point we were tree dwellers too, right? And then the food stopped coming because of the ice age. We had
later.
to come down into the grasslands and start taking fucking little babies,
Yep.
raccoon babies and rabbit babies, and you know what I mean? Like
Every
it's just
piece of that
this
has
is
to be factual.
evolution.
Yep.
This is evolution playing itself out backwards. We went into the cities of the rabbit people and we murdered and raped and pillaged probably.
I think the lesson from all of this is never let your guard down.
Yeah.
Right? A lot of people are out there, they're taking every single anti-anxiety thing that they can get their hands on.
Sure.
Cut that out. Be
Yes.
nervous. All right? This is real, and you need to be ready for it.
The world is a dangerous place.
Yeah, it's getting there.
Man, you're not lying, dude.
Yeah.
You're not lying.
But yeah, in summary, that kid probably deserved it. I don't know what he was doing, but
Moving on.
no, I'm just happy to set the tone here.
Yeah, no, 100%, dude. That kid fucking deserved that
Yeah,
shit.
he was
He
asking
probably
for
never
it.
put away his toys. He was probably always crying.
Probably. And, I don't want to ask where are the parents, but I mean, we do have to wonder here.
Where the fuck were the parents?
Exactly.
I want to know. Where
Where
were the parents when he got taken off? They were probably right there. The other parents of the kid on the bike were right there.
Where were the Harambe style security guards to bust a cap on that monkey? I mean, a lot of sounds like an infrastructure issue.
Did you live in Cincy when that happened?
I did not. I moved years afterwards, and then
still is something that affects the Cincinnati people, though, right?
It's true. No, I go to the zoo all the time. I've visited the spot of the tragedy several times.
Is it like marked off, or people just know? They talk about it. Is it
They've
like
got a
Harambe carved in the rock?
They have like a real small little plaque because they don't want to draw too much attention to it, but obviously they can't just fully ignore it.
It killed a kid. They can't be like, this is our best monkey.
It was, well, yeah, they. Maybe it would. Well, I mean, now we've answered the question.
Pay homage to him?
There's like a little bronze plaque, if my memory is correct on this, and you see it and you say, yeah, I acknowledge that, and then you just keep walking.
The Cincinnatians don't really. Yeah, they're like, we're all happy that
There's a checkered past
Sure.
in the Queen City.
Sure.
And you have to take all of our triumphs with with our mistakes.
well,
but
shit runs downhill, and you guys have 7 of them. So I guess.
yes, of course. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
I guess eventually everyone has to acknowledge it and kind of.
kind of.
Yeah.
I'm still relatively new to the area, but it seems like a lot of people just kind of keeping their heads down and plowing ahead.
What was the news like amongst the animals, especially the ones who were in the petting zoo? They were like, "Hey, man, what the fuck is going on?
What I've
They're
received,
killing the employees, man."
my only knowledge from insiders at the zoo was essentially like they really set their PR,
Yeah.
really let them run loose when the new baby hippo showed up, and they tried to just kind of overcloud over that and make that the headline. But
The new is that they've replaced Harambe with the baby hippo.
Shortly after the Harambe incident, a tiny hippo was born at the zoo, and they've just kind of tried to shift the focus over to that.
Oh man, who does PR for those guys?
I don't know.
Great. That is great, dude.
Yeah, it's a smart move on their part.
Oh, man.
I've seen that hippo several times.
Yeah.
It's nice. It's a nice little visit. I went there. I've seen them throw the watermelon into the hippo's mouth.
Yeah.
Catch that. And then I went there shortly before Halloween one year, and to celebrate, they just threw whole pumpkins into the hippo's mouths.
You know what we'll never see, man?
What's that?
And it's sad. We'll never see like Harambe fight that hippo and smash like pumpkins and watermelons on its head, because he's gone now.
Only in our best dreams will we see that take place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So sad, dude.
Yeah, well, that's one of the harsh realities of life you have to cope with, is that you'll never go to a public zoo and see a gorilla fight a hippopotamus.
Well, not here, but in Tijuana.
Yeah. I believe
they
we're
might
at
throw an alligator in.
I believe we're at a point in society where if you have enough money, you can make that happen.
Oh yeah, dude,
Yeah.
you can do anything. This is like Grand Theft Auto, 100%.
If there's one thing I learned from watching Joe Exotic, it's that if you have enough money, you can get whatever animal you want in whatever place you want it to be.
Yes, you can, dude.
Yeah.
There are more tigers, and we probably know this, but there's more tigers in captivity than there are in the wild. There's like less than 600 in the wild.
True. A lot of them work at various mail rooms. So
Sure.
yeah,
you
you don't
so?
see them because they're just down there at the bottom of the corporate ladder, but they're in there putting in the work, and
Yeah.
they deserve the respect.
The monkeys are out here revolting, and the tigers are putting in the paperwork.
That's true.
Pencil pushing their way to the top.
Yeah, it's a sick world we live in, dude.
Yeah.
But, this is life. So.
You don't see tigers on power trips. You know what I mean?
No, not unless they're selling Frosted Flakes. That's when they really turn up. But other than that,
Dude, I know, right? Dude, Frosted Flakes changed the game, dude.
They
Do you know
really-
anything about the history of like cereal or anything like that?
I don't, but I do see the factories driving through Cincinnati, so I know it's really ingrained.
John
like,
Kellogg
into
is they were actually two brothers, and they created it. It was actually like a place in Michigan. It was Battlefield, Michigan, is where the cornflakes were invented.
okay.
And then the guy, it was like a facility, like a rehab center, and they used to do yoga and shit. But it was in the early 1900s, and this doctor John Kellogg was like really renowned. Celebrities and like actors would come there, and they would do his rehab center, and they would do yoga and eat this breakfast thing that they made up on the facility. In the facility, well, the brother of John Kellogg wanted to like branch out and sell it to the public.
Okay.
But the brother doesn't want to do it because he's like, this is our thing here in the facility.
This is
right?
our special rehab cereal.
Our special rehab series. He's like, you can't give this to everyone. Like, fucking Frank Sinatra's trying to get off of coke, so he's like eating our cereal and it's helping him. You piece of shit. He's like, don't try to give it to the masses. And then this guy, I forget his name, but it essentially ended up being the guy who did Raisin Brand.
Okay.
And so he came along, and he was like a wealthy businessman who was sick, and he came to the rehab to try to get better. And he ended up stealing their ideas and their recipes for the cereal. He goes to market first, becomes a multi-millionaire for his time in the industry, and then that's when Kellogg buys the cereal company from his brother. And their rehab burned down too. I don't know. It's a really crazy story, but I just watched a documentary about it on History Channel.
What an insanely complicated
I have no ending to this.
origin story for something that is just so incredibly boring as
cereal,
a product.
Dude,
It's
cereal's a crazy story.
apparently so.
The backstory for cereal is fucking
Well, Fortunately, we have that.
Sorry, I just wasted 5 minutes of your life with the backstory on cereal.
You know what? I'm gonna take that with me.
You should.
Now, every time I look at a box of cereal, I'm gonna go, "Yep, Rehab made that."
Yeah. Definitely tell other people 100%. So.
Yeah, I'll share this episode with them. I'll make sure that they know.
Okay, good. Yeah, I want you guys to know that cereal is important and it's healthy. And
Sure.
I don't know. I never saw Frosted Flakes get invented though. It would just show like the earlier brands and kind of what it's worth. It was like a few billion dollars a year that they make off cereal. Dude.
People like it. Yeah,
It's easy.
that leprechaun. I'm sure he's doing well.
Yeah.
The toucan. I'm sure they're all rich. Good for them.
I don't think that's how it works, guys.
Oh yeah. No, they're real characters, and I'm sure they're doing well for themselves. So good for
I don't
them.
know where you were raised, but those are just characters. They're mascots. They're essentially it's like for marketing.
Yeah, they're in marketing. That's why they make money.
Have you heard of Santa?
Yeah, he's
What's
the
your
guy.
take on him?
He's the guy that gives me a bunch of cereal for Christmas.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we're on the same page. Okay. No, you're good.
I'm familiar with the man.
The cap.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Santa, good guy if he's listening.
Yeah.
And we know you are, Santy.
You should get him on.
Oh my God, that would be huge.
Yeah.
He's physically.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It'd be a big deal.
it would be a big deal.
Get him off season, but I
Uh,
mean, you can still. I'm sure you can make it work.
Yeah. So you do stand up also, Giles.
I've done that. That's a thing that I have done.
And you're based out of Cincinnati, which they have a great scene down there. Where are you from originally? Is it Ohio all together or
I grew up in New Hampshire.
New Hampshire?
Yep, I was
Okay.
there my entire life. And
Okay.
then,
What was that like? Is there water up there? Are you guys on the coast?
there are 13 beautiful miles of coastline in the state of New Hampshire, and you can go there to Rye Beach or Hampton Beach and have yourself a good or bad time.
Only 13 miles of coast?
Correct.
Small.
It's a tiny little southeastern corner, and then you have the entirety of Maine that has much more than that.
Do you think that Maine was being really selfish when they were splitting up that land?
Well, they claim to be the quote vacation state because they have so much water frontage, but it's ironic because everyone in Maine hates everyone. So it's
Uh-oh.
actually like not a great place to go unless you want to be in total solitude. But yeah, it's nice.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's probably nice when you're old and rich as fuck, though. You know
That
what I mean?
or as poor as a person can possibly be. Then that's a
Yeah.
good time to move into inland Maine if you are a complete recluse. That's the place to go.
Inland Maine.
Yeah.
So not on the ocean.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's-
Ocean is more of society, and then the further inland and further north you go in Maine, the more that every person would prefer to never talk to another person.
Shit.
It's nice.
That's kind of cool. I mean,
Yeah.
that could be a blessing and a curse. Like when you're young and you're out there making moves for yourself and you're building your network, I guess.
There are no moves to be made in
Right.
in
New
that
Hampshire.
area.
Yes. You
the
came.
goal is actually to not move.
Did you have family here in Ohio, or how'd you,
No.
you just
I,
kind of knew Cincinnati was a poppin' town for comedy, or?
No, I was in New Hampshire. Grew up there. College in Massachusetts, very close to New Hampshire. I went to Florida for grad school, so I was down there for about 6 years because I hung out for a little bit after that, and then I got a job in Cincinnati, which is why I moved there after having never stepped foot in the Midwest.
Okay.
So I've been there since the end of 2019.
Nice.
Yes, I have been shocked by how pleasant and plentiful the stand-up is in this area, especially Cincinnati.
Especially Cincinnati, dude.
Yeah.
People
Yeah.
come from all over to do those mics and those shows down there, and they love it.
It's very common, and wherever you are, if you do stand up long enough and you just meet enough people and kind of ingratiate yourself into it, you kind of get into the headspace of like, oh, we really got something special here. But
Yeah.
it especially feels that way in Cincinnati, and it's been confirmed by enough people on the outside that it does seem like there's something specifically unique about that area.
Yeah. When you know that, it not only puts pressure on you, but it adds a level of responsibility to you as a performer, and as an entertainer in general.
Yeah, I mean, kind of like, I don't know. I try not to. It's the only thing that I do, basically, outside of my actual job. But I still try not to get, just because I've seen so many people act completely insane, taking this too seriously, when the reality is like most of the time this is just people in a bar doing something
Mm-hmm.
a little different than normal. Then
Yeah.
I try to not get too in my head about it. But overall, I like doing stand-up in Cincinnati. There are a large number of people that are most concerned with being very funny, and that's something that is less common than it should be anywhere that people do stand-up. It's very easy to get distracted with other priorities, it turns out.
Like politics and business.
No, just like people
Oh,
that
comedy.
they do stand up 6 nights a week, but that's because they're allowed to be in a bar when they do that and drink themselves to death or
I feel you.
do whatever else, or they do stand up, but they do that so that they can just piss and moan about something else all the time. So
Yeah. I
what
know
has
what you
been
mean.
what has been great about Cincinnati is that there's a core group of people that are actually specifically and almost entirely concerned with being as funny as possible on stage. And
Yeah.
that has been very good.
Yeah.
Very good karma to build. Good.
It's so cool. I love all the mics down there, but I really love the
Yeah.
one that Blake does at Bananas, where it's
Yeah.
like a writer's workshop and other comics can punch your stuff up or maybe help you find a better setup or even a better punchline to an existing joke that you're not quite sure of, but you believe in the idea. And it's like, there's nothing like that anywhere I've ever been to.
Yeah, it's incredibly
Pretty wild, dude.
it's insane that we have that. Number one, it's insane that it works, which is all credit to Blake because he navigates through
yeah.
everyone's personalities and bullshit, and every once in a while someone new shows up and just blows the whole thing up because it's a very weird thing to have people just stand there and take feedback on a joke.
Yeah. You got to be serious about your craft.
And then it's crazy that it happens at all because Blake just does that for free every week.
Yeah.
And the only thing he gets from that is people saying, wow, that like it's incredible that you're willing to do that and that you've helped so much.
Yeah.
So all credit to Blake Hammond.
100% credit to Blake Hammond for that. Yeah, it's like, I feel like maybe for him it's like a writer's workshop too, because like he doesn't maybe necessarily get to keep every bit that he's working on because it's other comics' bits, but like as a comic, that just listening to stand-up is helpful and watching other people do their thing well is helpful. So why wouldn't it be helpful to like constantly write bits for an hour or two? You just get handed 10 or 12 really funny bits that you get to dissect. It's almost at the point where you're like a mathematician and you just do other people's problems and formulas for fun or something. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I mean,
he's like that smart at comedy.
The concept, the further you go through school is that, the best way to learn something is through teaching it. And I mean, that's exactly what he's doing.
Yeah.
He's out loud explaining why he would recommend doing this, this, and this on a joke because that would make the most sense or could be a new take or something. Mm-hmm. And if you go to that mic and you actively participate and engage in it, then you have just spent 90 minutes writing stand-up, even if it's not just for you, which is more than 99.9% of any comic at any level spends doing that.
Yes.
So it's
yeah, dude, that's what I'm saying. You get to and a lot of the other people who are coming to that room are other like quality driven, like you said, people who care about stand up.
Yeah.
And so you're trying to bring good material to the table and like, yeah, dude, he really knows how to cut the fat off and get to the point. As a stand up, this, sometimes it's easy to miss the funny part because you're like, oh, the punch is so good or the setup is so good or this is so new, I know it will work, but it's like you just can't see that missing piece.
Yeah, especially if you're trying to do something kind of personal or if you're trying to make like a point on stage. But most of my stand-up just exists in a vacuum of psychosis. So
yeah.
I'm pretty much only trying to either confuse or make people laugh as much as in the shortest way possible. But I mean, you see it whenever someone's trying to start with like a real story, and especially if they're newer to it or trying to do something for the first time, you have to go through and pare all that out and add things that are actually funny through it. And that's,
punch it up, yeah.
That's like one of the best things that you can take from that feedback thing or any writing exercise that you do.
Yeah, 100%. Just learning how to write a joke at the end of the day, because like a lot of people want to do stand up, but like, and it looks easy because you're like, okay, you go up there and you talk, right? It's like completely not like that. It's not that easy. It's not that cut and dry. And like, that's not to like boast or anything or be like what we do is like super complicated. It just, as a matter of fact, is, right? It has a formula. And if you don't know that certain formula when you're up there, just being up there doesn't count. It's like,
yeah, I mean, like,
what's the secret? You got to know the secret handshake to talk to the audience. Does that make sense?
There's that. Yeah. So, I mean, whenever I try to define it, like it's almost more like a language than anything else. And there are some people that just know how to speak it. And then there are other people that try to break it down word by word. And then there are other people that just have no idea what they're doing at all.
Yeah. They just wanted to try it for the first time because their friends said they were
that's
funny.
Fine. Yeah. And like, that's fine.
Man, you crack me up, Jimmy. I want to go to stand-up comedy.
Absolutely. Like people are welcome to try it as much as they want.
Yeah.
I don't just, if you're not on stage or off stage actively upsetting people, then let it rip. Like,
man, there was a dude at Funny Bone last Thursday. It was a Clash of the Comics, and the show there was like it was a packed room,
Yeah.
and it was a good. He had never done stand up before,
Right.
and I think the pressure of the room, and then watching some other comics do really well, he backed out like last minute and didn't go up.
Yep.
And it was like, hey man, it is what it is. Like
Yeah.
it's cool. Like it's.
I have much more respect for that person than someone that just
That's what I'm
goes up.
saying. Like, why go up and
Yeah.
then it's like, oh well, you know what? I'm gonna get off here a little early. I'll have a good night.
Yeah.
Like, you don't want to be that person either, right? Like that fucking sucks. There's a show that we must go on.
Yeah.
It's a time. There's employees. Like everything has to go cohesively.
Yeah.
So then someone else has to jump on and fill your time or whatever. And it's like you don't want to do that to the club. It's much more respectable to go up and be like, hey, it's not gonna happen. I just pee my pants or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
yeah. I think that's much more respectable for sure.
Yeah, and it's better than going up and just actively ruining the show, which
Yeah.
for many people, the longer you do this, the more people you'll find that are more than willing to do that. So
Just to shit on everything to make it about themselves, like
Just-
running the fucking light, just bombing, not being like. This is the thing too. Sometimes as an inexperienced comic, you don't know how to either dig yourself out of a hole that someone bombed before you did,
right.
or you don't know how to like use the momentum of a really good set before you. And those are two things that you have to know as a comic because like that's important to keep the show rolling and bring it back for the next act, you know.
Yeah.
But I keep trying to find a freaking way to like segue into this dude from Lorain County. I asked you where you lived, and I don't know why I thought you were gonna be like, "How about Lorain County?"
Oh
You
yeah.
ever heard of it?
Yeah, I've been through there though.
Have
Have
you
you heard
really?
anything from there lately?
Yeah.
or what?
So I heard that the Lorain, Ohio's Lorain County had released an inmate on accident last week. And apparently he was there for minor misdemeanor charges, but now they've charged him with a felony and they're actively looking for him for not returning himself to the jail. Now, I feel like this is like something that's not on the people, right? It's something that's on the system.
I mean, number one, we've all been there before.
Oh, 100%.
We've all accidentally been released from prison.
Yeah,
I mean,
dude.
that'll
It's
happen.
very common.
Yeah, it's the longer that you go in life and you realize the more people that don't care about their job at all.
Yeah.
And then when they make errors and it has actual consequences on other people, the more you question how it is that society actually continues to function. And
Well, it's off the piggybacks of our ancestors and the people before us in the last shift, basically. Like the way that
I
you're,
guess, yeah, like,
it's almost like life. Like as an adult now, I'm in my 30s. How old are you?
31 and a half.
I'm 32 and a half.
Oh, good.
So I'll be 40 next week. No,
Yeah.
so I'm 32, and it's like at our age, we're basically like we work at Subway. Our parents worked at Subway before us, but our parents like kicked buns and old stuff under the fucking thing. And the health inspector's coming tomorrow, and
Right.
you know it, but there's a line around the corner. Like that's how I feel. Like there's volcanoes going off, and there's fucking
No.
we have automobiles, all these massive industries that at one point helped people because it
Right.
gave them food during the Great Depression.
Right.
Are now like making us fat and shitty and die, and it's like.
Yeah, it's a lot.
It's turmoil, bro. like,
It's a lot to get through. You have to.
We're trying to figure it out, dog.
Yeah, best advice is to pick your battles, but try to do at least one helpful thing. That would be good.
Do you think that being nice to people and like holding doors for people every now and then, or like giving bums money? I don't mean bums, but homeless people.
Yeah.
Do you think that?
Fucking,
do you-
yeah.
do you-
I mean,
do you feel though,
fucking
honestly,
trash on the street. Yeah.
do you feel that like doing nice things at least when you can or when your heart calls you to do it? Do you feel like that helps the world at least a little bit, being polite and shit like that, or
I mean, if
do you think
anyone makes someone,
I
if
believe
anyone makes someone's day easier
yes,
for the most part, then that will. That might be one of the only things that can actually trickle down a little bit.
because everybody has problems, but there's different levels.
A little bit,
right?
but I mean, like, I don't, you can have just as very minor interactions where, even for 20, 30 minutes, you can just kind of laugh about that and it'll help your morning or whatever.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
I
I
feel
mean-
the same way. I don't know. That's crazy though about that fucking dude getting released from jail. He just had the wrong first name.
Yeah. Just crazy clerical errors. And the more that,
That's an inmate's dream. Everybody in there is waking up like, I guess I'm getting out tomorrow too. This dude's in there killing with that joke right now.
I guess so. Yeah.
That's a great callback, right? I'm getting out tomorrow too, fellas.
Yeah.
It's a good one, Steve.
Good one.
I assume there's a lot of guys named Steve in jail.
Yeah. Probably a lot of jail Steves, and they're all probably having a good time in there. His
Yeah.
name is jovial.
You know who else is in jail right now?
Who's that?
Brittany Griner.
Yeah, yeah, I heard about her.
Still in jail.
Yeah, still in jail.
Basketball
in Russia.
player. Here's the thing. Okay, so I do feel bad for her. She's an American citizen and she's on our side 100%.
Yeah.
But I was talking to a friend earlier and they were like, oh, you want to hear something I heard? Like, people don't like Brittany. Like, the people, like the fans, because apparently she's really aggressive. She punches other players. She's not apparently she's not like a nice person is what I hear.
Well,
so it's like, oh, well, she's a pretty powerful I mean, not powerful, but she's definitely got money and she's a celebrity. So she probably,
what was the name of the
has a different attitude towards life.
Detroit Piston players in like the 80s? There was like
Scottie Pippen.
There was like a group of like 4
Grant Hill.
Piston players when they won whatever, like late 80s, early 90s.
I think that was the team. It was like Grant Hill and Scottie Pippen, and
there was a group of them though, and like
people.
They had like this wild nickname, and I can't remember. Any sports fan knows exactly what I'm talking about. But basically, their strategy was to just go and like actively break all the rules.
Really? Like at other countries and other states and
no. Like
general.
It was like 4 dudes on the Pistons, and they'd be like, "All right, we're down by 3. All right, what you're gonna do? You're gonna go up court, and when they get the ball, you're gonna punch him as hard as you can in the face, and just take the foul."
Holy shit, son.
Man, it's I don't want to look it up. But
that's funny though, like hockey player type shit.
Right? Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
Basically,
I mean,
they're like vicious.
Yeah. So I mean, like Brittany, I think is allegedly like the #1 offensive player in the WNBA or something. Which that
says a lot for a woman, like
which I totally knew, you know, before she was a mainstream news piece. I totally knew that about her. So I mean, like, sure, I don't know, this
is good for her PR, right? Like, you can't
it could be.
If she does come home, this is only good for her brand because she's being publicized like crazy.
You know who my second favorite WNBA player is?
Who's that?
I don't know.
Larry Bird.
I have no idea.
No,
I don't know.
Dennis Rodman for sure.
Probably
100%.
Actually,
he was my first favorite.
If Dennis Rodman wanted to make the comeback of his life, he would absolutely try to enlist for the WNBA.
Yes.
That would be a great move for him. Probably bouncing back from all of the Kim Jong-un stuff from a couple of years ago.
Maybe. Okay, so I'm going to try to wrap this into a big ball here because it made me think of something else that's not quite basketball related, but it is sports related because, like, as Michael Jordan was one of the greatest players of all time.
Allegedly.
He played baseball too, and he was great at baseball.
Yeah.
But is that translating as T.I. being allegedly one of the greatest rappers? I would say he has a really big catalog, and he's definitely a great rapper. For his time, he's amazing. And now he's trying to transition into comedy, but it's not quite the same ballpark as when Michael Jordan was trying to play basketball, right? And I'm not saying T.I. is the Michael Jordan of rap. I just feel like it doesn't always translate, or does it? And how do you feel about him, like, kind of doing stand-up?
I don't know. I mean, like, he's just an aggressively famous person, right?
Sure, he's already a multimillionaire. Doesn't really need to do this.
Multimillionaire, and hasn't he done, like, several reality TV series about him and his wife?
Yeah.
So, I mean,
having problems and shit. Like, that's public information that people are going to clown.
Well, he also has like a bunch of kids, right? And
I'm sure. I'm not sure 100%.
They all have like insane names. Like, I think one of them is named King, and like they have like they have like object names.
Yeah.
So I think he's just like rap version of like Travis Barker, where he's just like quietly, but not quietly, very obsessed with being a very famous person.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't care what he does in stand-up. I know a very small number of people from Atlanta. None of them are thrilled to have him show up and be around. And apparently there are dozens and dozens of very weird stories that have already are quietly passed around of him just like showing up at open mics and people being like, what the hell is going on right now?
Like, he's showing up like it's a real big production. It's just open mic, and it
would be like he just shows up, at a Monday night in Cincinnati, except for it's a multi-platinum selling rapper that's just there.
Yeah.
And it's like,
he's trying to be a normal type of dude, basically.
I have no idea.
Wow. Yeah.
I don't
know what to make of it either. I mean, I guess, like, I was a fan of his music 100%. Like, I'm all for it, but we know as comics, like, it's kind of like part of the deal to make fun of each other and kind of like be able to take a joke, right? Because if you can't take a joke, you can't make fun of other people. It just doesn't work that way.
It's kind of hard to make fun of a dude that, number one, has been so famous for almost 20 years at this point.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, even while being famous, still managed to rack up, not joking, weapons charge. Like,
Oh, that's right. Yeah, he's been to prison and stuff.
Real weapons charges. And even if he had, $10 million in the bank, couldn't get out of it. So, I mean, like, yeah. I don't know. I mean, maybe he might disappear. Probably not.
Probably not.
I don't know. If anything, best case scenario is he does something like, like a couple of basketball players used to do, where like, it's like T.I. presents, and then they just put.
Oh yeah, maybe do like a Netflix thing, let him host it or something. Maybe not even they shoot it themselves.
Like they just do that. Basically, he comes out, hosts it, puts 4 or 5 dudes up.
That makes sense.
And like that's almost guaranteed to be what's gonna happen, because he's gonna sell tickets regardless.
You remember when Vince Vaughn did that with Wild Wild West Comedy Tour with like John Caparillo, Sebastian Maniscalco, a couple other people?
I didn't see it, but I can imagine it perfectly.
Sure, it was just like they went on tour. Vince like put the money up and kind of they did a movie surrounding the tour and everything. But I think it could be like that, because T.I. could definitely bank off of his name and be successful, because people will come. If he puts his name on it, people will come
to see him on stage.
Sure, in general, because he has fans,
right?
So I see that working, and maybe he can be like a fucking light in the comedy scene and put some of those guys in Atlanta who aren't quite at the top on top, and he could help them out, help their careers.
Could be. Yeah.
He could, if he could do something nice like that. I could see people in comedy clubs all over the country maybe being in his good graces, because he's putting people on.
Yeah, he definitely.
It's a good PR spin.
Could do that, or he'll just keep getting very bad cell phone videos of him acting insane on stage.
I haven't watched it yet. Yeah,
I mean,
you seen it?
There was one a couple months ago where he's just the host is just like going off at him at a show, and then he like
from the crowd yelling at him, or
and then he goes on stage and takes the mic out of her hand, and then like that was a whole thing.
I heard that. That's the one that I heard for sure. Like that was like the whole controversy, and I want to say that's really the reason I heard that he was doing stand up in general.
Yeah, that was like the big. I had heard like rumblings of him like showing up before that, but it's I don't know. It seems like he's not off to a great start.
Yeah, I feel that, dude. Yeah, 100%. I like to pick comics' brains about that, because as an entertainer, that like when you start off as a stand-up, right, and like that's what you're known for, then it's like a different level of participation. Someone who's already mega famous. Kind of being like, I'm gonna bank off my name and what I'm doing, and then that should be good enough, right? It's like, no. We know that like we had to use like our skills and our brain to like not only network, but like to figure out how to write and how to be funny and where to go and who to talk to. It's like,
we really did it wrong
so much. Yeah. We should have just become mega famous rappers.
Exactly. Well, that
reality TV
that
shows.
Or what's actually happening is
TikTok
people. You get.
It's I don't even know exact thing.
I don't even know what the bar is.
So glad you're correlating these things together, because you're absolutely right. It's the same deal.
Right. And I mean, like when YouTube started, the first generation of comics was like furious about that. And now we're, 2 or 3 platforms past that. So it's just like,
it's always going to be the numbers, isn't it? It's always going to be
pretty much. And like, I don't like, the comedy club owners and managers, they're very candid about it. They're like, yeah, we don't care at all. Like if someone sells out our room on a Tuesday night, and some of the ticket prices for these social media stars are
$50 to $100.
50 to. I just heard that one of the dudes on Impractical Jokers, that is not the main guy, just sold out like 5 shows up at Columbus.
Foul.
The regular, regular ticket was $50. If you wanted to do the meet and greet, $150. Apparently, most people in the room got that.
They did for Joe Gatto at Dayton Funny Bone a couple months ago too.
And the meet and greet option means you walk on stage after the show, someone holds your phone and takes a picture, and then he says, "Thank you for coming out."
Yeah.
And that's a $150 experience.
Yeah, $150 photo. Right. I did that with Chris DiStefano and Zanies in Nashville.
Well, I mean,
I cracked a joke though.
I hope you got a lot of likes.
I didn't tell him I was a comic, but I at least like threw. I made him laugh off the cuff, and I was like, that's good enough for me.
Yeah.
He's never gonna remember me. It's like I'm gonna be like, oh, I'm a comic from Ohio.
Oh
like, fuck off.
Oh, do you want to open the theater for me? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I don't, like it's obviously it's like, well, that's frustrating because you're in a comedy club, and a lot of them will openly be like, I am not going to make an attempt at comedy. I'm going to stand on stage, and
Yeah.
but I mean, there's 400 people in the crowd that are like, yep, this is what I want to see, and then they wait for the picture, and then at the end of it, and it's like, all right, well, now these clubs will remain open, so
Yeah.
I guess
It's
guess
like a
that's still
cult.
remain.
Yeah,
It's
you build like a social media cult, dude.
it's wild because
Right?
like, well, I mean, you have five, you have 5 different platforms that are more dominant than probably any TV, website, radio, whatever. So you have all of that, and then on that there were what 5,000 people that are doing well enough to.
Yeah, or less
So
than that. You would think it's that many?
I don't know.
5,000 headliners? No.
I have no idea. I mean, like,
Maybe working comics, yeah.
well, I mean, just people that, if they have 10 million followers, apparently they can go to any city in the Midwest and then they'll sell out a 400-person room a couple times.
I've seen people eat shit. Too.
Oh, and they don't care. Like,
I know.
because they're also doing, if they're doing $150 a ticket, do you think anyone is gonna? Actually, I did receive information that there was someone that was at every one of that dude's shows.
Yeah.
And was just, I mean, you drop $400 on tickets to just see the same guy do the same thing on stage every time.
I love the guy though. I'm a big fan of Jokers, and I love Sal. Apparently, like I know a handful of people who went and saw Joe Gatto, and they paid like $600 for a handful,
Right.
4 people to go, and
Wow.
one night.
That's an Elton John ticket
for 400 for or 150 basically. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's like premium. That's as much as you would pay for anybody.
I wouldn't.
I just paid 150 to see Tom Segura recently.
What, like an arena? Or
Yeah,
something?
he was down at the Agora Theater,
Something like that.
in Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Downtown.
Were you real close?
Was it Columbus or?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I was balcony seat, dude, for 150. It was probably more like 500, maybe more for like a front row seat, I would say.
Yeah. See, that's why. Well, I mean, like Ticketmaster has unveiled dynamic pricing, and I mean, we're on the internet. I don't know what is actually legal or not, but someone should atom bomb Ticketmaster's main building, because this is now like criminal activity.
As much as they're charging, you're saying?
It's dynamic pricing. So what they do is they open the floodgates, and then based on whatever numbers they see coming in, they bump their ticket prices up.
Oh, based on the algorithm
Right.
of the
So
amount of people coming.
So it's
to
not
buy.
even sells out and then resale and then whatever the market wants to pay, and then some people get screwed. It's from the jump. Tickets are here. Oh, we have this many people on our website. 3 seconds later, actually, tickets now are 3 times as expensive.
It's like they've done for ticket sales what like people have done for gas and cell phones and the price of gold, essentially.
I
Does that
guess,
make sense?
except it's like even more insane. So it's just like, this is the first time they're doing it. So I guess we're gonna find out if
Is Ticketmaster Live Nation? Is that
they
the same
are
company?
the same company.
So they're huge, dude.
They are a monopoly, and then Live Nation 10 years ago started buying all the venues that they sell their tickets through.
Yeah, yeah.
So now, if you want to perform, period, past a certain level, you have to play the game with them.
Yep.
So I mean, it's just like, of all the evil corporations in the world, they are right up there with the worst.
Shit, dude.
Yeah.
That's crazy. It's like that in every business, though, right? It's like there's
I
always
guess
some
if you-
evil
if
money. Yeah.
If every
devil.
business wants to operate in the worst way possible, and
Every big business, that's what I mean.
right, and I mean, they have the tech to figure this out. The biggest question is how many of these artists are going to go out to play these venues with this dynamic ticket pricing, and it's going to be half full. But Ticketmaster doesn't care because they already hit a higher number than if they had. So, I mean, I don't know. I guess we're going to find out what happens, but
Yeah. For now, they're definitely on top.
right.
100%, dude.
Yeah.
I think I have one more story I want to share with you, and then my engineer has to get home. So NASA's asking astronauts not to masturbate in space.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
I think that's interesting. It seems that porn is forbidden in space. They're saying that
Because of the aliens.
well, one ejaculation can impregnate three female astronauts on the ship because it floats around. It doesn't die. There's no oxygen, or like it dies here, right? Apparently, it dies when the oxygen hits it. But if there's no oxygen, it could just live up there with you, dude. It's like a
Finding
spider
it-
or something just crawling around.
You know, I've only taken a few anatomy classes in my life. I was only pre-med.
Okay.
So
Gotcha.
I can't weigh in. I'm technically a doctor, but not medically.
You would know way more than me. I took some audio engineering classes, dog.
I'm gonna
Like, I didn't pass health.
I'm gonna guess that hygiene was probably their top priority in this. Probably more that than fear of immaculate conception.
Yeah.
But
My theory is like, you never walk into a place where it says like no shoes, no shirt, no service,
yeah,
unless there was a guy before you who didn't have that and he made a problem. So it's like, how much semen did they find up there before they had to make the rule?
It is very likely that this rule came with reason because, I don't know.
It's like panspermia, dude. What if your sperm gets to another planet and it's like fucking...
This is the problem with this increasingly perverse world we live in, In the 60s, all these astronauts had decorum. They weren't up there just cranking it on the moon.
No doubt. They were blowing each other.
Now everyone's going, what if that was some guy's conspiracy?
Yeah, the new astronauts need to be gayer, bro.
No, it's not even that. It's just like someone's not mad that they thought the moon landing in the 60s was fake. Their conspiracy is just like, did you know that Buzz Aldrin was blowing everybody up there?
He was saving America, dude.
Yeah,
he fucking saved America taking those shots to the chin, my dude.
That's actually what that Kubrick movie was about. It was about all those astronauts were just sucking each other off on the moon. Yeah.
All right, I see the light, brother.
Yeah.
All right, man. That's a good segment to end on, man. So if you go, I know that you're lonely in space, guys. If you could hear us up there, don't masturbate. Don't touch it, man. Don't touch it. All right. Maybe someday there'll be another hero like Buzz Aldrin, and he'll come along and suck off all the astronauts. But until then, just hold it in, man. It's for your own good. Thank you guys for watching this. Go down to the bottom and subscribe if you haven't already, or follow this on Spotify or iTunes or Stitcher or wherever you might be listening. And also, before you go, make sure you follow Zorse Industries on Spotify, Apple. Where are you guys at? Where do you want to tell them your Instagram and stuff?
Yeah, if you just type that into any search engine, it'll pop up.
Yes.
And Zorse Industries is a fake company, but it's also me. So.
He's conducting fake business, folks, but it's fun and it's hilarious. So make sure you check him out. I really appreciate you for coming today, buddy. Thanks, Dylan, for being behind the camera. As always, shout out to Citywide Studios for allowing us to do our show here. And peace out.